Turn this off before we coffee.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Coffee. Okay, good morning everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and good morning to you folk on streaming. I actually remembered to turn it on promptly today. I thought I would just run through some of the boat reports for the interest of those that are patiently waiting for conditions to leave. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, Patricia and David, ZMH 286 here at Gulf Harbour. We are going to be starting the weather fairly promptly this morning, just after 7 our time, or 8, whatever it is here now. 1900 Zulu, 1900 Zulu. There's quite a bit to go through. We've dusted off the crystal ball, and we need to get started on the weather because the reports are telling us that the conditions for hearing are not so good come about 20 past the hour. So we will do that, and I will update what little news there is around the world after that. But before that, I will just run through a few of the reports that have come in for the interest of those folk. Kuhela, good morning, Josh. I know you're up because your report came in. Kuhela is looking at coming in on Monday, which is great news. Good planning there. 2813-16840. Currently, Kuhela has 12 to 17 southeast. It's up and down, and this is the reports from pretty much everybody. The wind is up and down no matter where they are. So squalls, no rain to deal with. 2 metre seas, 1018. So not too bad there, trucking along. Local talent, just talked to Dean. They are on their way from New Caledonia as well. 2639-16737. He's got 10 knots southeast. 15% cloud cover, 1 to 2 metre swell. Really grizzly about the current. Everyone is commenting on that current. It is a damn nuisance from New Caledonia. It really screws up your ETA, and they're now looking at Tuesday arrival time. David will be talking about arrival weather when he takes the microphone. So just bear that in mind, you folk that are planning your trip from New Caledonia. There is, according to Dean this morning, 1 to 1.5 countercurrent for you to deal with for at least, well, the others have commented on it's at least 24 hours worth, maybe more. A report from Tongatapu, where I know there are a lot of boats waiting there to get moving to Minerva or onwards, as the case may be, depending on what happens when you get there. Thank you, Taranui, for the report of flat, calm conditions, no swell in the harbour, 1013, bit of rain on and off, so everyone patiently getting things sorted out there. Maryland is on their way. They are now at 23 and almost 179 west, 17853 actually, ripping along with a southerly, 16 knots of southerly, 99% cloud cover. Good morning to you both. Lupan, a little bit ahead, certainly west of them, 2418. Good morning, Ula and Pele, 17412. 11 to 17 knots south-southeast. It's up and down, as is their speed, anything from 6 to 8, 1016 and 70%. And good news for Exocet Strike and presumably Bonaire. They are in Harvey Bay, so not too far to go in the next, well, probably be there about lunchtime. 14 knots east-southeast. 1019er, and a slight chop in the bay there, but I'm sure looking really beautiful as the dawn comes in. So there you have the results from those at sea that we've got so far. Thank you for those positions and reports, folks. David did check a couple of them out to see how things stacked up against what he was looking at. Just to let you know what we've got here, it was really cold overnight. It was 30, well, it's actually 14 degrees now outside, 1-4. But thankfully it's calmer. The whole area has got bits of, because it was garbage day yesterday, there's just bits of trees and garden stuff and rubbish. These strong winds have just about driven us all mental, but down to 6 knots of southwest, it almost feels odd. 1012.9 has risen, but it is now fairly steady on the bar. Okay, well that's where we are at the moment, and we have a couple of boats who I won't be able to talk to because they will be in my skip. Haven't had an email from Kapai yet. Let's have a look. Is there anybody that I can hear? And then I will see if I can get Andrew to have a look at the boats that are below 30 and in my skip. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, listening for anybody. Nothing heard. Eye candy, Gulf Harbour. Yeah, it's a bit muffled, but not too much of a problem. And for those of interest, you will know that Eye Candy and Mesa Troy have the strongest radios. That was until Diego blew his radio up. If you would like any advice on how to blow up your radio, you could contact Diego. I think it related. You need to have a bow thruster and some interesting electrics. But he certainly did a number on his radio, so we're relying on Eye Candy with some help from Pilgrim. Go ahead and give a call, please, Andrew. Did you say nothing heard, Andrew? Roger that. Well, hopefully Kuperi's all good and on their way again. I know he's in touch with Pilgrim, so no worries there. And I think we have Serenity and Victoria. I wouldn't mind finding at some stage. All right. I just wanted to cover, folks, something that, the good thing about this net is the participation. Great information comes in. Sometimes somebody wants to know something, they pop it on streaming and somebody else explains it. And also there's some useful stuff comes in on emails. And one of the ones that came in yesterday was from Midnight Sun, along with a really neat picture of the customs dog that was on board when they arrived in Okua with its lovely little booties. It was quite a big Labrador, black lab with appropriate customs gear on, a little life vest, and it had lovely little booties so it didn't make marks on the furniture. But anyway, I was talking yesterday about doing a trip report with Maritime Radio in the evening. It makes it's just a very good thing to do. They have very, very good ears. They have these monstrous Yagi antennas that they can pick up even the worst report or signal from a cruiser. They always did it in the evening. We always did it here on Chameleon. But he reminded me to tell you that if you don't want to talk to them, and sometimes people don't, and in particular people these days prefer to stick it on an email, as it's sometimes easier. I always like to talk to them, but I'm a bit of a chatter, as you probably have worked out. But you can email them, which is a good thing to do. You can email them, CC me, and any friends that you've got. The email address is maritime, the word maritime, at Kordia, Kordia, Okay, there's a bit of snap, crackle and pop here on the radio, just checking that out. So if you want to just send them an email, that would be good. Also do a check with them that your radio is good before you go, but certainly use their email address, maritime@kordia.co.nz. If you haven't heard that clearly because of noise on the radio, if you go to our website, ghradio.co.nz, click on the radio section, and it's on the very first article that I've got there. It's a one-page thing, which is useful to print off. I have all of the contact details, telephone numbers, and email addresses, and this email address for Maritime Radio is on that. Also of interest for those that are in New Zealand for the first time, there is a second page of that one-pager. Sounds Irish, I know. But for those that are coming to New Zealand, there is a little bit on the next page about their Maritime's areas of weather forecasting. It explains where they are. So if you're coming into Opua, you will be listening for the Brett forecast. If you're coming into Tauranga or Marsden, you're looking for the Colville forecast. It just explains that, and also gives the times when those forecasts are made, because when you get closer, you'll be able to listen to them on the VHF. Anyway, getting back to Maritime Radio, it is absolutely a free service. These people are government-paid employees. They are there all the time. They are right next door to and part of the New Zealand Rescue Coordination Centre family, the RCC. They're there 24 hours a day. So, and they cover a vast area. So do make use of them. If anything happens, it is useful to be sort of in touch with them. And it doesn't need to be a problem with the boat. It could be maybe a medical problem on board or whatever, or you may want to change your destination. Just go through that process with them and let them know who you are and that you're on your way, and just send in those daily reports. And CC me, that would be good. Okay, I do follow the Following Sea and the YIT sites, of course, so I've got the reports there. If you're on your way, let me know that you are on one of those, and I can just click on being a follower so that I get the emails in and I then don't miss them if they come in at different parts of the day. Okay, good morning to Scoots up there at Savu Savu, where they're having a real gully washer, evidently. Not much wind, but a lot of rain. Well, that will clean the boat off. Funnily enough, we've had this torrential rain when we had these strong winds blasting on our front windows, and although the windows are clean of any dust and dirt, it has left all of the bee pee. There's been a lot of encouragement in the area for people to have hives, which is very annoying for people like me because we have beautiful views out towards the west, but our windows are covered in this little waxy, what we call BP. It's a bit of a wax and I don't know what it is, but it does not come off very easily. Okay, good morning to Amazing Grace also at Mommy Bay with 70% cloud cover. 5 knots of southeast and a bit of rain overnight, but looks like a sunny day ahead. Well, we'll wait and see what David's got to say about that one. Okay, let's have a look and see if there's anybody with anything. Gulf Harbour Radio. No, nothing heard. And as mentioned, we are going to go on to the weather because the reports have been that it's not very good shortly. Talking about this, I was just looking at something I'd written down to tell David actually. I was looking on Following Sea, and it is quite fun to see the boats starting off from America. It's that time of the year, boats in California, and it made me think back to when we were starting going down the Californian coast at exactly this time of the year. I think we were almost San Diego by now, weren't we? Yeah. And there they are all starting off again, so it's sort of quite fun. That was over 20 years ago for us, but still the same, going through the same process. You can see the excitement in the reports that they're setting off to do their big adventure. All right, folks, we are now going to pass the microphone. I will just let you know what the conditions are here. For those that have joined us, I am starting earlier to take any reports that come in, so it was good to hear from Kuhela. 14 degrees now, 1013 steady on the bar, 6 knots of southwest wind, and even the clouds that were around before have dissipated. So blue skies and shadows again. Oh, how lovely. Here's David.
Oh, yeah, memories. Thank you, Trish. Yeah, we spent over 6 months in Mexico. Black Russians, you get 4 for $1, along with your enchiladas. Fantastic. I don't know how much they are now. Anyway, good morning. We have a bit to talk about here. So those of you who are thinking about leaving, those of you at Minerva, those of you in Newcal wanting to go to Bundaberg or thereabouts, I've got some info for you there. But we'll start with getting a feel for the 500 millibar level, as we usually start with. Now, we know about shortwave that's now over New Zealand, but looking at Saturday, a couple days from now, I see it sliding east to nearly 170 west. Now, in the Tasman, we've got a nice little ridge, but over Tassie, here comes the next shortwave. Now, for the yachts, both two at around 30 south, thereabouts, we still have gale warnings for Colville. That's the Marsden area. Brett has been lowered, but Colville, the wind is easing, so I would expect they'll be dropped for Colville very shortly. So that's pretty good news. Winds last night, by the way, southwest 35. They eased to about 20. It's expected this afternoon to become westerly, about 30 knots, and then shifting back to the southwest by tonight, southwest 20. So for the yachts to the north, you could start heading this way if you haven't already done so. I'll talk about that in a few minutes, a little bit more detail on that, give you some arrival weather here in New Zealand. So if you could hear us, hang fire on that one. Now back to the 500 millibar. For Monday the 28th, we've been talking about this front. We'll talk about the shortwave, though. The shortwave is in mid-Tasman, slightly further west than the earlier progs had indicated. This is rather good news, but still the frontal band for those that are arriving Monday, Tuesday, the frontal band still, I think, is going to be arriving late on Monday now. I thought it was a little bit earlier on Monday, but now it's looking like it'll be towards midnight, maybe into Tuesday, 1, 2 a.m. Like that will be the edge of that cold front. There is some wind in that. It's not anything like the killer one that we had last week. So it is a cold front. You will get some strong winds in it. Some strong swells, but we aren't going to get the sea conditions that they had for that last one, and the winds are certainly not going to be 60 or 70 knots. So anyhow, north of North Cape, I would expect 20 to 30 knots out of this. There'll be southerlies, unfortunately. This is Tuesday morning, but there you go. That's what happens when you arrive when a front arrives. Then they're going to turn to become westerlies when you are, I would say, south of North Cape. So that's pretty good news because you'll get some protection, at least from the sea, as you're sliding down the coast. That's happened if that's where you make landfall. You may make it further down than that, but it just all depends where you're coming from. Now, by Wednesday next week, the new high is going to be in the Tasman, and it looks like about 1026 millibar, and that means on its eastern side it's going to be providing southerlies from New Zealand due north to 25 south. So there you go, headwinds again. But that seems to be the nature of the beast this season, at least this time of the season. Now, the very next nice arrival to New Zealand, forget this Monday, Tuesday thing, is roughly 6 November for those of you that are up there in the islands, maybe perking your ears up by now. 6 November. Now, that's a Tuesday, I think. Now, this is well over 300 hours from now, so we'll be kind on the models, and we'll call this data an idea. And by the way, I call anything from a model an idea. But it does look decent so far. Northerlies from a weak departing high are going to precede the next frontal band that does arrive here. So departure, maybe the 28th, the day that the cold front is going to hit New Zealand. A departure from the islands on that day, Monday, may do the trick. There may be a strong wind area between the islands and 25 south by the 2nd of November. That's a Saturday. But if you do leave on the 28th, you'll be south of that. So that's good news in that case. Now, the 1030 high that's nearing New Zealand is going to be the cause of that wind. Now, remember the old expression, over 1030, the going gets dirty. And that's pretty true. Using, again, you've heard this 100 times, the last two digits of 1030, 30, usually indicates the wind on the periphery of these big highs. So use that as a guide when you're looking at your synoptic charts. Now, remember that this, what I just said, is not a route plan nor advice, but just an idea for the next window that you may want to examine a little bit more closely. The departure is going to be with fresh winds for Fiji, moderate winds for Newcastle, fresh for Vanuatu, but the arrival conditions look pretty decent. Okay, back to the yachts near 30, whether you hope to or not. But if you're around 30, there is a secondary cold front that's running up New Zealand today. Hear that, Trish? No laundry.
Lovely.
Thank God, no laundry today. It should arrive North Cape around 1 a.m. Friday. So tomorrow, late tomorrow night, give or take on that time. I'm guessing at 1 a.m. Friday. So there it is. That's the next cold front from this system that's well to the south. Now, by lunch, it should be at around 32 south. By lunch on Friday, 32 south. Now, it doesn't look very strong, but squalls are nasty, so just be ready for them. Winds Friday afternoon near North Cape look to be southwest 20 or so. Now, by lunch Saturday, they're still southwest, still around 20 knots. Hopefully, you'll be in by then, or Monday at the latest. So you should be, if you're up around 30. Should be no reason, plenty of reasons, I suppose, where you might not be, but you should be able to get in. Now, switching gears, the yacht's going from Newcastle to, say, Bundaberg, and there's quite a few that are on this trip. We will have decent winds from today through next Wednesday. East-southeast from Newcastle all the way out to Sunday. Then, if you're past the halfway mark, they're going to back. They're going to become northeast, maybe north-northeast. It depends on your longitude, how far you've gotten at that point. By Tuesday, they become easterlies. That's very nice and light, actually. And your arrival may be Wednesday. I don't know. We don't have any ETAs. But say you're arriving Wednesday, there's hardly any wind in close to shore. Once you enter the Harvey Bay area, you'll probably be firing up the motor. Further out, though, if you don't get that far, you'll have east to northeast winds, depending upon whether it's Bundaberg or if you're further south, Coffs Harbor, then it'll be more northeast. But anyhow, it's a good, easy voyage. Those that are making that one, it's a piece of cake. For the Minerva yachts, all the yachts in Minerva at the moment, quite a few. To get to Opua from there, as you all know, it takes about 4.5 days if you can make 7 knots. Most everybody doesn't average that. A lot of these boats are much faster, but this is an average. 5 days at 6 knots, so roughly in that time frame that I'm looking at here. So arrival New Zealand, I think anywhere from Saturday the 2nd November to Tuesday the 5th of November, anywhere in there looks pretty decent. Now the 5th of November should find you within a high center, very light and variable winds. That would be a very calm arrival. That's a switch, a very calm arrival. For this, you'd have to leave, say, around Monday the 28th, at which time you would have, looks like nice easterlies on Monday, but a bit fresh, but that's okay. You're a sailboat. You could leave Sunday a little bit earlier, I suppose, but the wind direction is a little bit better on Monday. Now, for the next few days, most of the models are in agreement, as you would expect. 1 to 3 days out, they should be pretty darn close, all of them. EC, GFS, GMC, JMA, the whole lot. Goes on and on. There's 5, 6 that I look at. However, by around the 30th of this month, which I think is a Wednesday, ECMWF, we'll just say EC, is blowing up a depression over Tongatapu, and they are indicating it's quite a nasty one. It tracks, fortunately, southeast. Now, if this in fact happens, a lot of what I just gave you is not going to be accurate. Plus, the winds are going to be very fresh, as you would guess, out of the southeast if you are making your break for New Zealand. And that means there'll be a bit of a swash zone between that low and the high to the west. So anyhow, let's see what EC does by tomorrow. We'll have a couple of model runs before I talk to you again, and we'll see what they've got to say. Unfortunately, all of the other models that I look at don't go out that far, so I can't really get other indications from them at this point. It's just too far out. I could look at some ensembles from the Canadians. They don't seem to indicate it, the Canadian ensemble. But anyhow, we'll see. So far, GFS has been more accurate, and let's hope that's the case. We really don't want to see that depression. I'll be looking at the upper levels as well for that date, and I'm going to start doing that tonight. And then tomorrow morning, I'll try to get the latest model runs. What I give you is based upon what I'm getting at early this morning, as I get up around 5 o'clock, roughly. And we'll see what happens. So keep your fingers crossed on that one. All right, I'm almost done. We'll very quickly go through the islands. I'm not going to spend much time on it. Starting with Tonga, we've got a pretty slow-moving trough that's over the group. The people that are there know about that, I'm sure. Imagery shows plenty of broken to scattered cloud. So I would expect cloudy conditions to continue today and tomorrow. There'll be some scattered showers out of this. The winds do show directional convergence. In other words, northerlies clashing with southeasterlies. Later, for the Hapais and southward from the Hapais, I would expect the winds to pick up. It might be fresh out of the southeast, although it's relatively calm in Tongatapu this morning, but they could pick up there. Tomorrow, southeast for the group in general, in the 15-knot range. Over to Fiji, again, wet Fiji with the trough. It's slow moving, particularly in the north. Expect the usual cloud and showers, and there'll be isolated thunderstorms in this. Could be similar tomorrow, but the showers will be, as usual, more frequent in the afternoon. The winds look fresh today. Southeast 15 to 20, areas of 25. The usual suspects, Tui Ra, Southwest Fiji, Labu. Those two areas will have stronger winds. The southern Lao, pretty windy in the south, in the Lao as well. To the north, it's a little bit better. Vanuatu imagery shows scattered to broken for the southern bits, but mostly fair in the north. But still cloud is there, but doesn't look like much in the way of showers. Winds fresh, southeast around 20, areas to 25 knots. Tomorrow still southeast in the 20-knot range. A lot of wind shadow effects in the north. So if you're way up there, you may find it quite calm where you are, particularly if you're on the west side of any of the islands. Seas are rough out there in the open water, about 2.5 meters. Over to Newcal, quite a bit of fast-moving cloud over Newcal this morning. Looking at the satellite loop, expect east-southeast 15 to 20 in our lagoon area. Partly cloudy conditions, we'll call it. Tomorrow, east-southeast, mainly 15, but I'm going to call it 15 to 20. Picks up usually in the afternoon, and that actually stays about the same through the weekend. So halfway decent for Newcal, not perfect for the Ilos and the smaller islets out there that you go to, but not windy enough to keep you away from them. But I don't know. Once they get above 15, it's not so great out there. Well, that's all I've got, and that's quite a bit actually. So. Tomorrow we'll sort of talk about the same thing to take us through the weekend, and we'll see what EC has to say and go from there. So at the moment, here's the chief.
Well, while you were talking, a slug of emails came in, so I just want to go through those with David beside me to make sure we have responded. Kapai will not hear us. They're not hearing us because they are below 30 degrees. But just to let you know, at 3173, he's got the diesel running, and with the main, the seas are very confused. The southerly wind is 15 knots, 100% cloud cover. Over the last 24 hours, the swell reached 4.5 meters. The wind got up to 30 knots. They maintained 2 to 4 knots of speed under heavily reefed main, motor sailing that sort of with southeast direction. And had no problems. So that's Kapai, and also Serenity of Swanwick. They are on their way from Fiji to Opura at 23 and 179 east, 15 to 20 southeast. They're expecting to get in on Thursday. Any comments on that one?
Should be all right.
Shouldn't be too bad if it pass. Okay. There was a question. And this might be of interest to others. Amazing Grace has windy, the pressure reading stuck on strange numbers, 523493. What would that be? It's not even inches.
500 millibar.
Oh, you're stuck on the 500 millibar, John. Stuck on the 500 millibar. So, when Vandy says, Scoots, thank you, click on the 3 horizontal bars to the left of the search location box in the upper left corner of the screen. Click on settings. But just get off the 500 millibar and get back to where you are at 0.
That's meters they're looking at.
And that's meters, by the way, says David. Thank you for that. All right. Okay. Pakale Loa, thank you for the report from Minerva. Some chop inside the reef, 16 knots southerly, 80% cloud cover. The front has almost cleared. So you would have heard, presumably, the report about leaving Minerva. Malachite, good morning to you guys and everybody at Denarau. Wind is 5 knots southeast, 50% cloud cover, 1011.5. You would have heard the comments on the weather window for Opura. We'll go into detail of that. And Mezzaluna are on their way to Bundaberg. Current position is 2244 and 164 east. 15 to 20 knots from the east. Seas are 2 meters out of the east, 21 Celsius, quite pleasant, 1017. And you would have presumably heard the comments on the trip. Sounds like a very lovely trip to go to Australia. All right, that's about it. Valak reported a bit windy at Muscat, rain overnight. Okay, is there anybody with any further clarification needed? Oh, and look at our clouds. It wasn't all that long ago. I said it was looking beautiful and we had shadows and they've gone.
That's because you were thinking about
That's
wandering.
because I was
I know you
thinking.
were thinking about wandering.
All right, is there any questions from anybody? Any relays of anybody that we cannot hear? Okay, we will be starting the weather because David will do the crystal ball real good clean tonight, and we will be covering passage weather again tomorrow because there will be a lot of activity. This is great because we'll be able to finish the net earlier than expected. Okay, is there any relays? All right, I'm just going to do a bit of news for those that are just sort of sitting by the radio with nothing much to do until it dries off again. I did chuckle to myself. It's good that you are all enjoying the marine life. As scientists have advised, David is going to hit me for this one, they have advised that analysis of seashell sediment laid down shortly after a giant meteorite hit the Earth about 60 million years ago. They found a sharp drop in the pH of the ocean in the period after the strike, and this caused 3/4 of the marine species to die out. And they have, of course, extrapolated rather grandiosely that acidification with all of the use of fossil fuels, this acidification of the sea with the increased CO2 will lower the pH and it will kill off all of the marine life.
I have one bloody comment.
No, don't you?
It is not acidic. It is still basic. We have not dropped into any acid range whatsoever.
Well, we need a meteorite, and thank you for that addition, David. Okay, for you folk from the UK, the Brexit bill is in limbo. The MPs rejected the timetable. They want another 4 months. Boris, of course, now wants another election. So we're sort of in a hang fire position there. I think the EU are getting sick of dealing with Britain. Everybody is getting sick of the whole thing, but that's the situation there. Also in the UK, a truck was found carrying 39 bodies. It was driven by a man from Northern Ireland. The people had begun their journey in Bulgaria. So, there you go. Knock and do, if you are listening, could you contact me by email, please? I would like to know your email address to send you something. Okay, that's it from me. I will just ask Andrew to do another check there to see if there is anybody wanting to make contact. Thank you for the reports, folks. Eye candy. Go ahead, please.
Eye candy for the golf radio. The station to make contact. Go ahead. No, nothing good there.
Thank you. You're booming in now. Fantastic copy from you. Whereabouts are you now?
Very close, Amber.
Oh, roger that. Yeah, it's fantastic. It makes me wonder why I am moving the weather forward, but we will do that and just see what happens. I appreciate your comments, folks, on what is happening at your end. It is really hard because we cover people from Newcastle through to Tonga, quite a range of longitude, and so the sun is in different positions for all of you. So I'm just reading the streaming. John has checked that and he's still getting unusual pressure readings. Well, it must be the computer. I hate these computer problems that pop up. I had one yesterday. All right, that's about it from me. There's nothing more to cover from you? No, nothing more to cover there. Good morning, everybody. Have a good day, especially if you're preparing to leave. Make sure, as I mentioned yesterday, that you are organised for anything that happens en route. If you've got droves or sea anchors, make sure the lines are run, make sure everything's put away. David has some comments here.
Oh, I don't want to take anything away from what Trish said. All that's really important, particularly if you got droves or sea anchors. Boy, oh boy, that could have saved never mind. Anyway, listen, what I wanted to say about this pressure business, I don't know what the deal is with John and what he's getting with PW, but if you have any questions whatsoever on the pressure distribution, please pull down the New Zealand Met Service synoptic and prognostic charts. The analysis chart will give you fairly accurate readings for the pressures around the Southwest Pacific. They're getting their data real time from the various instruments and whatnot on the analysis part of that, of what they put out. So that will give you a pretty good idea of the shape of the isobars, and the pressure readings are going to be fairly accurate. Not dead nuts, but fairly accurate. So what you get from the model people, God knows what happens when they do stuff. But if you really want to know what's going on, get it from them. If you can't get the New Zealand Met Service, BOM, B-O-M, Bureau of Meteorology in Australia. Now, they also offer virtually the same services as the model people, only they're meteorologists. And they will give you wind direction. They'll give you swell. They'll give you all sorts of stuff if you go on their site. BOM. Go there. You'll be surprised. A lot of information. So there you go. That's it.
And Valak has just made a comment for Amazing Grace. If anyone else has got a similar problem, check the display isolines is pressure and not geopotential height. So you find that below all features in the right margin, evidently. Like, as you can see, I don't look at Windy. I just rely on David for when I should put the laundry on the line. Okay.
You do not.
Cheers, everybody. You have a good day. We will be back again tomorrow, really properly early. Bye. Hang on, I will turn the streaming off. Just want to make sure that people have got it, so if there's any other additions on the subject. That's my antenna changing height for 20 meters. If anyone can hear it. Okay, streaming's off. Bye all. But I want to give a personal.
All right.